You see, it's impossible to surprise us after this power came to lead our country, because this process is the best result of all things that we say about the stop of democracy in Ukraine, when we are saying about the new process, when we do not have a freedom of speech, when we do not have political freedoms, when we do not have economical freedoms. And this process shows this very correctly, that really we now have a power not of pro-Ukrainian forces, but we have a power of mafia that now are on the main cabinets all over the Ukraine. You see, it's a reality, because this team, so-called team, became to the power in their native Donetsk by the methods which use the worst representatives of the mafia. So when they became to the main cabinet of Ukraine, to the cabinet of president, they began to provide the same activity as mafia provides in the worst days of the history of mankind. So when we say mafia, it's not something like a literature. It's a reality of Ukraine. You can ask questions not openly, not on camera, because you know that the methods with which mafia used for their enemies are horrible. So when you will ask not with camera, all not the members of party of regions who make and who have business in Ukraine, they will answer you that really we now have racketeers in power. Now we have a lot of open materials that were secret from the beginning of Orange Revolution, but we understood that the first man who came to the cabinet of Viktor Yushchenko was Dmitry Firtash, one of the most criminal authorities, the best friend of Seva Mogilevich, who is now engaged in all dirty process according to the information of FBI. And so I think that Mr. Firtash was the person who made the alliance between Viktor Yushchenko and Viktor Yanukovych very close. The time when we were struggle on the Orange Revolution, we are providing this struggle again from the beginning of Orange Revolution, but we have some people who began to have their own business. First of all with the team of Yanukovych, and we saw this now when all secret materials became open. First of all, this process is the excellent illustration of these secret materials. When, for example, Dubina, who was a head of state company NAK Naftogaz Ukraine, declared that he saw a lot of times Mr. Firtash in the cabinet of Mr. Yushchenko. And I remember these times when Yushchenko say, I don't know who is Mr. Firtash. I don't know these gas and gas problems. Now we understood that Mr. Firtash was the best friend of Yushchenko. He was the best, and he is the best friend of Yanukovych. And team of Yushchenko and Yanukovych now is a united team, and it was the same team that struggled against Tymoshenko all this time. You see, it's hard to answer now this question, but we have only facts, and these facts shows that when Yushchenko declared that law won for everyone, for everybody, now we find that law is one for his enemies inside Orange Revolution team, and law another, for example, for the team of Yanukovych, with whom he signed agreements, declarations, memorandums, for whom he voted and his fraction voted as a prime minister, with whom he divided 3 years ago government when prime minister was Yanukovych, and half of his government represents people of Yushchenko now. When he, for example, included in his team a lot of people from the team of Yanukovych. So we have a lot of things that shows that the main problem of Ukraine, the declarations that Orange Maidan declared this time was not fulfilled because, first of all, of the position of Yanukovych and very close team who supported him. All other people are still now on Maidans of Ukraine. But Yushchenko decided to have his own relations with this mafia and with this team. You see, I think that now it's hard to explain what it will be, if not, or if yes, but now we can see really that if this process that started in 2004 will be in the same way, but we will really begin to struggle with corruption and all other things, I think that this will give us a real chance to change our country. But we saw that from the first days, corruption became the main idea of new team that came to the power. And so this struggle between Yushchenko and Tymoshenko, it was the struggle between old team and new one team. So, but after 2006, we have a first time when we have a direct relations between state companies RAO Gazprom and NAK Naftogaz of Ukraine. It was because of the strong position of Tymoshenko. Firtash, who has excellent relations and who has all his dirty money from the special offshore zones get on the special bank accounts, of course he lose everything. So for him it was a struggle not between Tymoshenko, for example, and Yanukovych. It was a struggle for his dirty money. So he used everything in order to support Yanukovych, in order to support a team of Yushchenko, who at the same time together struggle against Tymoshenko. So for me, the role of Firtash, it's a role of all other dirty business. When you use not, for example, your mind, your real hands, your real activity, new technologies, but when you use your relations with president and his team. We have an excellent agreement at the same time when Russia decided to stop to give us gas. It was agreement on $235 or $250 per 1,000 cubic meters of gas. But Firtash, who came to Moscow just after Yushchenko say not to this contract, proposed price 1.4 times more. And of course Russia agreed for this contract also. So all struggle, it was a struggle not even who can give smaller price for gas. It was a struggle between direct relations, and relations when dirty money are used in this. Everybody asks now why we have so huge price on oil. We have a market price on oil, but everybody are asking now why we had to have market price on the gas.
Because
it can't be another way. Even this arrest, we can find answer not only in Ukraine, but in the European structures, because we are members of Council of Europe, and so Strasbourg Court that solve all these problems, I now think it will be the last court that will solve a problem of Tymoshenko as well. And because it's a political process, I think that the answer of Strasbourg Court will be just direct. So I think that it's only a start of this process. And when Yanukovych thinks that he will solve all problems in Ukrainian courts, that he control unanimously on all levels, I think it's only the beginning. So for us, this process is a process to show that the system of corruption, it's only a problem, not only a problem of president or of the government. It's a problem also of our courts. And we need real changes, not only in the high levels and top levels of this power, but we need changes in court system as well. I think that now we have too much, really too much support from European structures, from the United States, especially the declaration of highest authorities of the United States. We have a very, I think, honest position of Russia. That struggle, of course, for their own interests, but this process shows first time that three main players in world history and in world policy, United States, Europe and Russia, say the same.
Yeah.
So it's really true
And
that
you
Tymoshenko
believe-
is innocent.
Right.
So we have now a real support. But in our negotiations with the European Union, we do not want to use this process for economical meaning. Tymoshenko herself declared that we are for free trade with European Union, even if this process will be the same way as we have now, because it's a strategic interest of Ukraine. This now, it's a tactic interest. But real strategy is to show that it's impossible to have free market society when it's
With
no
the dictator.
other freedoms, freedom of speech and other freedoms. So it's a good example when our government tried to use another game. I think this game will not have some success.
In both Ukraine and the West, and especially America, the general sense is that without a revolution, that there's no way that this is going to be resolved. Do you agree? And if so, can you explain?
You see,
How
if we will,
what does a revolution mean? in this
revolution,
case?
revolution is other answer when it's impossible to make evolution. The best way of evolution is the way of honest, open elections.
Right.
If there will not, we will have possibility to have honest, open elections. I think the only answer, like it was 5 years ago, it will be revolution. First of all, it will be a real struggle in parliament elections, and we think that we have all possibility to win these elections. So, of course, I don't think that this president, with his methods of work, with these violations of the law, violations of freedoms, violation of market economy thinking, I think that this president will not have possibility to be in his office 5 years and a half as he think about this.
Right. I definitely. Okay. Next question is that basically, along these lines, could you explain what you have organized in terms of the opposition forces in reaction to the Tymoshenko arrest?
Yeah.
What is this coalition and what is its goal?
We have organized, first in the history of Ukraine, we never had this, that all opposition parties are now united in one anti-dictatorship movement. We have such, traditions,
what
but
is the name of it?
it's in Ukrainian, it's KOD, code. It's anti-dictatorship movement. So for us, we have four main tasks. First task is to organize all this process against Tymoshenko to show for all world that this process is a political process. Second, we want to use for this the main events in our life. We have 20th anniversary of independence, and so we want to organize a mass demonstrations on this day. Fourth, we have a start of our parliamentary work at the 6th of September, and we want to use parliament and the start of this work in order to show for Ukrainian people, first of all, and for all world that dictatorship now is ruling now in Ukraine. So for us, this is the most important.
So you're saying you're having a rally for Independence Day, which is Wednesday the 24th.
Yeah.
What are you intending to do on this day?
It will be a meeting, but this meeting, it's a tradition in Ukraine. If there really, we have a lot of people on the streets, it shows a support of opposition. So it will be a good example where the opposition has its support. And we think that the 24th of August will be the real date of the real struggle with this
How
dictatorship
many
regime.
people are you expecting?
We are expecting thousands of people, and we will have this answer just in 2 days.
And in comparison, how many people were out in 2004?
You see, of course, it was hundreds of thousands of people, but I can say only that at first day it was only 5,000 of people.
So this is
But
just the
in
beginning.
2 weeks we have really hundreds of thousands of people.
And in this coalition of anti-dictatorship, you're laying out a policy for it, yes?
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
of course.
not
We
just
have a
not
political,
just
we have a
not
political
just one
demands.
ideology, but
Of course, we have a political demands, and first demand, I think it's second demand, and the last
what are
one
your
demand.
demands?
First, and the main demand, we need a new power, and we need a new
When
elections.
do you need new
We need new elections, first of all, parliament and president elections this year. And I think that if people support us, we will have all possibility to do this.